Now, we were talking earlier before we have gotten on camera here about social services, and I discovered that you have a lot of experience working with children that have been placed out of the home. Could you tell us some about Nebraska's foster care system and how it compares to other states?
Well, you have to understand, I came from a very boring upbringing. We were just the nuclear family, your basic family. I had no idea how bad it was, had no concept. I started out in the social services system by actually being a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And when you became a lawyer in Dodge County, they appoint you to represent people. And back then, and in fact until this year, they required no training to represent these children and families. And we have done our job very aggressively at our office, and we've pushed forth some very important cases, the Duran case, Xavier's case within this last year, which have redefined how it's going to be looked at. I had to say it is very worrisome for me, very worrisome. And you really need to step back. If you saw the amount of tragedy in our system, you couldn't possibly believe it. You probably get a little feel from it because being in education, in the education field. But the stories and the lives of these children that have been destroyed by the system are outrageous. We have one of the highest rates of out-of-home placements in the whole country. We have a meth epidemic going out of control. We have insanely cut the money for recruiting quality foster parents in the state when we have a huge foster care deficiency and relying on a few good ones and a lot of very questionable people who've entered into the foster care system. My role has generally been that as a guardian ad litem, which means I'm the attorney for the child to try to get them the services and things that they need. That's not done on an individual basis. My hope through a legislative role is actually to make sure that we actually think through a process to actually help get these kids out of the system on a more global scale, not just trying to fight for each individual one to come out. If you think that the foster care system in this state in any way is protecting these children, you are mistaken. And the tragedies that happen, I often am reminded of one of my first cases ever, which is a juvenile case. I went into the home, and it was beyond description. There was literally a bucket of excrement next to the one lady. The mother was oozing things from her body, which the smell was horrific. I almost vomited. And we removed the children. I thought, oh, yes, we've saved the day. And then they placed the kid in this bouncing around. They couldn't find him a place because of his age. And so I got all gung-ho, and I said, well, I subpoenaed everybody I could think of to come to it and say, tell us why you can't get a great placement. And so I really assertively pushed them for that. They came up with what I thought was a great foster placement. It was a great group home. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm just the best attorney in the world. And less than a week later, I get the call saying my charge had been molested in the group home. Mm-hmm. And of course, that group home placement had then been disrupted. And for the rest of this young man's life, he bounced from system to system to system. The tragedy of the rest of that story, which I really can't get into, is beyond fathom. And it's just very, very tragic, the entire picture of the juvenile court system. And we really had to do some major transformations. We've taken baby steps. I give them baby steps to try to get the kids out. We've started the drug court in Omaha, Lincoln, and now Fremont's just started that, which hopefully will treat drug addiction, which it should be, as a medical condition, and so we can actually get something done for it and actually get some treatment that might actually work. We, however, have to not just place the children back to bad homes. That can't be the answer. The way to say we have too many kids in foster care and place them back with the people we took them from, well, law enforcement, social service, all these people who've been trying to save these kids are calling me up and say, what are you doing? And I say, we got no placements for them. And that has to stop. If people care about children, they need to step up. They need to find the foster care training for their area. They need to say, am I someone who can do that? And if they can't, there are things that they can do for the system. They can reach out on an individual basis to help our system. And it has to change. We are condemning an entire generation of youth to the horrors and a permanent underclass that cannot be good and will be a complete drain on our entire society. If you can't think compassion for those children, think what it'll do to the overall economy having these problems. It has to end for all kinds of reasons, and we need to all take steps forward to fix the foster care system. We can't say government fix it. We all have to take steps to do that.
Yes, yes, it is a really serious situation. I'm going to totally switch gears here. Oh, everybody in Lincoln has been talking about State Fair Park.
Oh.
That is an issue that encompasses all of the state. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, as a kid, I was a band member. We used to come down for the state fairs down here. That was one of the big things at the end of the summer to do. I remember coming down for it. We don't come down as often as we used to. I mean, I haven't been down in the state in a couple of years. We used to, of course, when I went to UNL, we would go out to the state fair. I saw the numbers between the replacement of the park and the other ones, and I'm glad I saw them side by side because I had no idea it would be that expensive to move. I honestly say I don't know enough about why it would need to move. If those
the university wants to have a tech park out there.
Well, the university wants a lot of things, but the university can actually look at towns like Fremont who could use a part of their tech park. We have plenty of room for it. They can come to us. We don't have to always look right that close. But the university always wants more land. But and I love my alma mater, but building new buildings isn't always everything about education. We had to have quality teachers. We had to keep the cost of the tuition down so the average Nebraska can stay there. We always love to build lots of buildings at the university level, and we like our names on the buildings, but quite bluntly, the day-to-day cost of heating and staffing that building are something we need to think a little bit more about, and that we can't just overlook that. I do love what happened at UNO, the park up there that they did, great idea. But I got to say there's a lot of us just a little outside the metropolitan areas that say, well, why not us? And we have great people, we have great room, and our land isn't overpriced. Come to Dodge County, we'll take you tomorrow. I can show you some land which we can place you at tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we've been meeting and learning about Richard Register, who is a good, strong Democrat from Dodge County, and he's running for the state legislature for District 15. And I encourage everyone watching to come down to Lancaster County Democrats' monthly meetings on the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. at the Communication Workers of America Union Hall at 25th and N Streets. There you'll get to meet lots of quality, dynamic, intelligent candidates like Richard, and maybe you might want to run yourself. So we hope that you come down and get to know us, and thank you for listening to the Lancaster County Democrats' Watchful Citizen.